Test, test, 1, 2, 3. Test, test, 1, 2, 3. My worst fear came about and I slept through my alarms. I really do apologize. Here we go. Let's check it out. All right, so an increase of 0.4% does not look good. Oh, all items increased 6% before seasonal adjustment. Wow. We did see a drop. What the heck? Would you look at that? Oh my goodness. That is way better than expected. Yeah, 0.4. We saw core CPI a little bit higher than expected. I would think that TQQQ would be performing significantly better. There we go. So we got TQQQ up 2% on the day. All right. Looks like it's correcting itself a little bit right now. Here it goes, coming back to that moving average. Still up 2% on the day for TQQQ. There it goes, pulling on back. Core CPI, 0.6%. Saw an increase of 0.4, but overall, still pretty good. Fuel oil saw a decrease of 7.9%. Okay. That's significant. What else? Utility gas pipe services saw an increase. Look at that. It's one of the most significant differences that we've seen. In January, we saw an increase of 6.7%. In February, we saw a decrease of 8%, right? Of 8 points. My goodness. Here it goes, testing that moving average. All right. With overall core CPI, if I'm not mistaken, let's double check. So all items, less food and energy, rose 0.5%. After rising 0.4%. Okay, so that puts core CPI at 5 point, what is it? Yeah, 5.5%. Here we go. Back to 400. Let's see. We see NASDAQ showing a little bit more signs of an uptrend. We are testing the moving average. Okay, there we go. Testing moving average. This is actually significantly better than what I expected from the CPI data report. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I did not expect it to come in as expected at 6% before seasonal adjustment. So we went from 6.4% all the way down to 6%. This is better than my expectation. This is as expected according to the market. That's kind of the sad part, which I think that this is why the market's reacting the way that it is. We have seen a support above 290 with 70 cents pretty much the entire pre-market session. The CPI data did not come in bad. It did not come in worse than expected. So it came in as expected at that 6% mark. So they cooked the books for sure. I knew something like that was going to be said. It's called CP Lie. Oh wow, that's probably the most creative one I've heard yet. Nice, man. Do you like options? I do not trade options myself. I view them to be too risky, but that's just my 2 cents, right? I prefer trading actual shares. I've never traded options. I do not trade options. During my live trading sessions, I focus on one thing, and that's trading shares. Yep. So for those that are tuning on in, CPI data came in as expected. Core CPI came in a little bit higher, but not bad. And it came in at a whopping 6% before seasonal adjustment. So from 6.4, we dropped all the way down to 6%. I don't know how they did it, but we saw a huge drop. This was one of the biggest drops that I've seen in utility gas pipe services. From a 6.7% increase to a 8% decrease, or 8-point decrease. And here it goes. Looks like we are beginning to show signs of a support here on QQQ. So how does this make you think about SQs and TQs? This is very encouraging for TQs, right? Because TQs, NASDAQ is the one that's more oversold, meaning that it's the cheaper one right now based off of this recent pullback, right? I think that there was, right, if I'm just thinking out loud, based off of how bad things were looking, with the banking system, with how the Federal Reserve wasn't really going to be allowed to raise interest rates too significantly anyways because of how it affects much larger banks, or how it will affect much larger banks. I think it's really interesting to see that the CPI data report did come in as expected. We are seeing a consistent decline according to these reports, and I know what people are going to say already, that these CPIs are rigged, that they're fake. I mean, don't shoot the messenger, right? I don't control the CPI data and how it's calculated. It's what I've heard a lot of. I can't imagine the system being that rigged. And if that's the case, then that's the case. And at the end of it, we're going to have to live with it, right? But as of right now, I think that this report is very positive. I do. I think that it came in better than expected for CPI. It's encouraging because maybe the banks, it kind of lifts some weight off of their shoulder. Because the Federal Reserve doesn't have to be as aggressive with future interest rate hikes. I think that's the most encouraging thing out of all of this. That's the way that I see it, is that inflation is still going down according to this reporting, right? Now it's just, it might just give the Federal Reserve a little bit more time to figure out what's going on with all these banks, right? And why they're so overly leveraged. I don't know if you guys remember this. And again, if it's not too much to ask, again, you guys definitely don't have to. But if you guys are enjoying this live stream, again, I'm going to break down the CPI data report in just a little bit so you guys can learn how to read it yourself. But if it's not too much to ask, if you can really, smash that like button, let's see if we can get over 2,000 likes. And please consider subscribing if you guys haven't done so already, especially if you want to participate in the live chat. Oh, and a great reminder, you can see that there's a fake Ricky in the live chat, right? You guys can see that they're like, message me on WhatsApp or something like that. I'm here to tell you that I will never message you through WhatsApp. I don't know if you see it. It says WhatsApp 1620, whatever that number is. I'm going to hide the user from this channel. It's a perfect reminder. There's so many fake Rickies that will try to email you, that will try to message you through Instagram, or that will try to message you through WhatsApp. I can promise you, I will never reach out to you through that foreign type of, I will never reach out to you asking for money. I will never trade for you. I will never ask to trade for you. I'm verified on YouTube, I'm verified on Instagram, and I'm verified on Twitter. My team will never email you asking, hey, do you want to invest in, or do you want me to invest your money? Something like that. Please, please, please know that I offer one service, right? I offer one service and I sell merch, right? I offer one service, which is Learn Plan Profit. It's the second link in the description down below. That's for my private group. It's the group that gets to watch me trade live every day. We do not reach out to people that, hey, do you want to sign up? I offer it, right? I offer it in my videos. If you want to sign up, the link is in the description. It's at your own discretion, right? Like, feel free to check it out. If you like what you see, join our team. Cool. Second thing is apparel. Right? If you want to enter the GTR giveaway, you can buy apparel. For every $1 you spend, it equals 5 automatic entries. That's the fourth link in the description down below, and that's Shop Tech Butts. No one that is part of my team will ever reach out to you. Okay? You're hearing this from me directly. If I ever reach out to you, I can video. I will video. If you ever get a message from me, be like, hey, video chat me or something like that. If I'm the one initiating the message. If you're messaging me and then you're like, hey, Ricky, can you video chat me? That's a different story. I'm not going to video chat you. But again, please, please, please understand that I will never reach out to you first. I will never ask you to trade for you. Okay? Really quickly, one of the things that I was just paying attention right now to NASDAQ to see if we actually break above this 293 resistance that we're currently experiencing. Ricky, shoot the peace sign to prove that you're the real Ricky. All right, Josh, there you have it for $5. I appreciate it. All right. Let's see. Okay, so do you think that the NASDAQ will go up based off of this report? I think that it has a lot of potential to go up today. I'm genuinely very, very impressed by this report. I'm telling you, you guys have heard me say what I've said for the past week. I'm surprised, and again, I'm telling you this as I had more of an expectation that the market was going to drop because I thought the report was going to be bad, right? And I've told you many times before that I'm not right 100% of the time, and I share my opinion all the time. When I tell you that I'm surprised the market is not gapping up more, and I think it's just because of what's going on with the banks. As of right now, NASDAQ is up not even 1% yet, almost 1%, but not yet. We have TQs up nearly 3%, but not yet, right? I'm surprised that it's not moving up more. The NASDAQ has been getting beat, right? It's been getting pretty beat up for the past week and a half. Let's be honest, right? Let me see a show of hands of our tough bulls out there, right? That have been holding on tight, people that are going long. I'm sure it has not been a very enjoyable week or week and a half, right? Be honest, right? This is the part of trading. Most people that have made money have been shorting the market, and it's been a tough week for the bears, for the bulls, no question about it. So I think that this is relief. I think this is some weight off of your shoulder. I'm excited to see how the market reacts to when the market opens. This is the part that's confusing me, right? This is the part that's confusing me because why isn't it moving up higher? Like a 1% move is not very much for NASDAQ, especially with previous reports. can we not talk about this, right? Where are our OG, LPP traders, right? Our OG viewers. I've seen NASDAQ move up nearly 5%, right? In a day where a CPI data report is released, right? Like, I've seen big moves. But I think that's where a lot of the uncertainty is, where people just don't trust the banks right now. And I think that's where fear is still being injected into the market. And it looks like it's trying to rally right now, but based off of this pullback, this has given me a hint that the bears are still present and that the market still has a chance of selling off. Imagine how confusing that would be. The CPI data report came in as expected at 6%, and yet the market ends up selling off because of fear of the banks. Like, for bears, we had a pretty decent setup for a pretty bearish day if this report came in higher than expected. But overall, it didn't, right? So I want to see a show of hands. How many of you guys want me to break down line by line the CPI data report? I do not have to. I'll leave it up to you guys. We're at 833 likes. There's about 3,800 of you. If this video gets 1,500 likes right now, so you guys do have to like it, subscribe and like it. If you guys want me to do it, drop a like. Again, just smash that like button. I'll break it down. I'll show you how to read it. My goal is for you not to have to depend on me, right? Just like my goal is with the Learn Plan Profit team, my goal is to teach you on how to do something on your own, not to rely on me to have to need to do it every single time. So I'll leave it up to you guys. But yeah, already showing signs of a resistance here for QQQ. All right. Do a poll. Now, it looks like people are already doing it based off of the likes. And again, I really do appreciate it. So, all right. It's at 1,200 likes. We're looking for 1,500 likes. Give me literally 1 minute. I'm going to grab a bottle of water real quick. Came in surprisingly as expected, 6.4 to 6%. That is correct. Here it goes. We got NASDAQ testing that same resistance once again. We're at 1,400 likes. Again, if you're just tuning on in and you want me to break down this CPI data report, if it's not too much to ask, make sure you drop a thumbs up and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And if this video gets over 1,500 likes right now, it has to do it right now, I'll break down the CPI data report just so you have a better understanding on how to read it. So we're at 1420. Oh, there it goes. Alrighty. We did it. I did not see that. Looks like, again, NASDAQ is getting rejected once again. Can you guys do me a favor while I'm breaking down the CPI data report? I just want to pay attention. I want you guys to pay attention for me in the live chat. Actually, I can just copy this. Okay, I'm just going to pull it on my second screen just to make sure that I'm keeping an eye on the market as well. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and jump right into it. So where do you find this document? What is it doing? What is it saying? What's the data? So this is from bls.gov/CPI. It's a free website. It's literally where the report for the CPI data report is being released. They normally will update it. You can see right here that they update it every month. So the next CPI data report is April 12th. 2023, right? 1 hour before the market opens. If I click on PDF, this one probably is not the, oh no, it is. Yeah, March 14th. There it is, February. We saw an increase of 0.4% for the month of January, for the month of February. So this CPI data report pretty much is just tracking, hey, based off of specific line items, is inflation going up? Or is inflation going down month over month, right? That's all it's calculating. And then it calculates the past 12 months, and then that's how we get that number, that percent. So our expectation was 6%. We were previously at 6.4%. Our peak was 9.1% a couple months ago, right? So we've been making a steady decline. So we want inflation to go back down, right? Federal Reserve raises interest rates to slow down the economy, to bring down inflation. That's the ripple effect. We can see here when reading the report, I'm always just looking at this first area, right? The consumer price index, all urban. I normally don't care too much about this. I look for the first thing of did we rise, did we drop, and how much? So it says that we rose 0.4% in the month of February. Cool, right? After increasing 0.5% in the month of January. So this is just sharing with you how much we rose. This is the new one. And then it just recaps where we were at in January, right? The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics reported today over the last 12 months, all indexes rose 6%. So there's a specific formula. You don't just add these, but what normally happens is, again, there's a specific way to calculate it. But the way that, how did our CPI actually drop if we added 0.4, right? That's kind of the question. So what happens is we drop 0.7 of last month and then of last year, right? For February, we get rid of this one and then we add the new February. So we got rid of 0.7 and we add 0.4. So that puts us as expected. And now the really interesting thing is that when inflation was going up very aggressively month over month, that's when it's pretty much the next couple of months, right? Because in March, when we calculate that one, as long as we don't rise more than 1%, we should be pretty good, right? Because that means that we drop this 1% and then we add whatever is new. So we should be able to beat that month. In April, we saw an increase of 0.4. That's going to be a little bit more challenging to beat. But again, we remove this one and then we add that one. In May, right, when we're reporting for May of 2023, we drop the old May, which is a 0.9% increase, and then we add the new one. And then in June, right, we can get rid of that big one, 1.2%. And then as long as in June we are not seeing an increase of 1.2%, then we should see a drop, right? So this is how it's calculated in the past 12 months. I mean, there's an exact formula on how it's all calculated, but just wanted you to understand that pretty much when we add the new month, we drop the old one of the last year. Okay, so I am keeping an eye. I appreciate you guys keeping me up to date with NASDAQ. I do have it on my second screen over here, so thank you for that. Now, how is it calculated, right? What is being calculated for this inflation? So there's two things. There's CPI and then there's core CPI. The Federal Reserve understands that they cannot control the supply of energy and of food, right? Because those are, pretty much third-party items where they have no control over. So therefore, this is not included in core CPI. And that's really what the Federal Reserve tries to focus on, core CPI. It's everything excluding energy and food. But if you think about it, it's energy and food that have seen the largest, that has been taking the highest hit of inflation, right? So it's still calculating the 6%. This is calculated in the 5.5%. It's everything excluding food and energy, okay? But when it comes down to what is being calculated, how do you read this? It's read from top to bottom, right? This is the new month that was added. These are the line items that are being calculated. And you just go from top to bottom of, all items saw an increase of 0.4. Food saw an increase, right? We go across. Food, we saw an increase of 0.4. Food at home saw an increase of 0.3%. Is it food away from home? Saw an increase of 0.6%. And then energy supposedly saw a decrease of negative 0.6%, right? So you go down the list, and what I normally look for is what was the biggest increase and what was the biggest decrease. And right off the bat, I can't see anything. It wasn't like last month or the months prior where we had some with pretty big jumps up, right? Now, everything for the month of February looks like the biggest drop that I see here, there was one that was at 8%, right? So negative 8% on utility gas pipe services. And then here with, I think, fuel oil, right? This line item saw a decrease of 7.9%, which I find to be pretty interesting because I don't know about you guys. And again, maybe it's just where I live. I've noticed that in the month of February, gas prices started going back up again. Is that not true for you guys? You guys can let me know what you think. But that was very surprising to me that, for fuel oil, that I've been seeing it increase. And it's not just in one area, but it's in multiple areas. But according to this, it's saying that fuel oil and gasoline, all types, are still seeing a decrease or not much of an increase. But now I'm seeing, based off of the live chat, we have, we're up 17% for gas prices. Not very much in the Midwest. It stayed the same. Okay. So pretty much all of these line items are being calculated. Everything from new vehicles, used cars and trucks, apparel, Medicare commodities, shelter, transportation services, Medicare services. These are the items that are being tracked under the CPI data report. And they're all line items. And you read them across the board, but you go down the month, right? So this was the one that was just released, February 2023. Because the month has to complete itself, and then it gets released in the following month. It's like a prorated bill, right? You have to complete the entire cycle of the month, and then it gets reported the following month. So you go down the list, and then this is how we saw an increase of 0.4, right? In January, we saw an increase of 0.5. In December, we saw an increase of 0.1. And then that's what gets added to this formula. And then we drop the old month. We add the new one. February 2022, removed. February 2023, added. Make sense? Do you guys have any other questions about the CPI data report? You guys know where the number's at, where it increases. They include the old month. And then core CPI, right, being calculated. So we could see the way that they calculate core CPI, or the way that they talk about it, is the index for all items less food and energy. I don't know why they make it sound so weird, but less food and energy, that means core CPI. Everything excluding food and energy, okay? So it came in hotter. No, it came in as expected. It came in as expected for the CPI data report. It literally came in as expected. How can you tell what the expectations are? Well, in the economic calendar, you can see them right here, that we were expecting an increase of 0.4. and we're expecting an increase of 0.4 on core CPI. So core CPI saw a little bit of a larger increase, but for the month of February, we rose 0.4. So you could always Google search these market expectations. I made a video about it, and I think the video that I made yesterday, I might have said 6.2%, but it was 6%. This has to be cooked books. So why is the market going up? Because the inflation report went down, right? It went as expected. So it makes sense on why the market is going up. If you're asking why the market is going up, I don't think you really understand what the expectation was and what was just reported. The report came in as expected. So yes, the market's going to go up. Core CPI is sticky. I'm literally still so surprised, guys, that the CPI data report came in as expected. I was not expecting CPI or the inflation report to drop. Kind of relieved that it did, because it would have been I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard that the Federal Reserve might even consider not raising interest rates because of how bad it could affect larger banks. Do I think that that's fair? No, but it's kind of like 2008, right? Where banks are going to have to get bailed out. And it's because of how much more harm can happen to the people, to people like you and I. We have our monies in banks, right? And we can complain all we want of like, no, hold these banks accountable. Like they were trying to make too much money. They were trying to be greedy. But at the end of it, if they fail, then so do we, right? The part that just baffles me, and I was going to film a video about it, but I don't know if I can put myself through it. But I remember Congress just last week. For those that tuned on in, right? I live streamed Jerome Powell's testimony. There's a series of congressmen and women that were testifying and that were pleading to Jerome Powell, who's the head of the Federal Reserve, to set less aggressive standards on cash reserves, right? Of what they have to have under manage, or what they have to have in assets, right? That they have to pretty much maintain a specific number of cash so the same thing doesn't happen that happened in 2008, right? They're telling Jerome Powell to remove that. There shouldn't be any limitations on what banks need to have in reserves, right? And then literally just last week on Friday or Thursday, the 16th largest bank in the U.S. fails, right? And then I believe it was yesterday that it was announced that the New York Signature Bank, which is like the third biggest bank to fail since 2008. So it's like, how can these banks ask for less restrictions when all they're doing is they're in tough positions right now, right? The thing that happened with Silicon Valley Bank is they made a bad investment decision. They have a huge focus in tech, super aggressive. They did it extremely well during 2020 and 2021, but during 2022, they invested in shitty treasury yields, right? And in comparison to our current rate of what it would offer, it was less than half of that. And now they want to get bailed out, right? Or they needed to get bailed out. They got bought out. So I just think it's insane that this continues to happen. They continue to ask for more leeway. They continue to ask for less restrictions. And then the same thing happens over and over again. And if the Federal Reserve doesn't raise interest rates, inflation might start getting even more sticky, right? And that's going to hurt people like you and I. That means that our money is worth less, right? But if these banks are not bailed out, then we all fail, right? Because if they lose their money, then so do we. So, yeah, I have nothing else to say other than CPI data report came in way better than I expected. but it came in as expected. And that's a great sign for the bulls. I'm still genuinely surprised that the NASDAQ market is not moving higher, but I simply think that that is all thanks to the banks and the fear and the uncertainty that is currently being injected into the market, because we still don't know what the Federal Reserve is going to do about the banking system that can't control itself. I think that's what it really comes down to. So is TQs under the PDT rule? Can I day trade that as many times? No. Jay Zuni? No, it's under the PDT rule. You can't day trade anything. You can't day trade shit. These are shares, right? If you're going to be trading futures, that's different. But these are shares. It's shares of an ETF. So no, it's still under the PDT rule. Any shares. It's not that, oh no, there's no PDT with this. There is. There 100% is. So please be aware of that. NASDAQ has no investment in banks. Yeah, but NASDAQ has a heavy focus in tech, right? And tech is often considered to be more risky because it's more volatile. It really is. So, all right. Again, one of the last things that I want to say is we did see an initial pullback right after we gapped up when that report was released. The thing that I just want to remind you is have an exit plan. I'm not here to instill fear in you. I'm telling you, right? Even though I thought the market was going to sell off because I thought the CPI data report was going to come in worse than expected, I'm surprised the market isn't moving up higher. And because of this, I think that there is potential. Because of why it's not gapping up, I don't know why. I just have to assume that it's because of what the Federal Reserve will have to do because of the banking system, right? There's still fear in that. There's uncertainty. I think that there's potential that the market tries to pull back by the time the market opens. We'll be able to see shortly after. I just want to make sure that if you're in the green right now, if you're up 1% on Qs or 3% on TQs, that you don't give back all of your money, right? Or all of your profit. So I'm going to be trading live with my Learn Plan Profit team, but that's for them, right? That's exclusive and that's private. So for all of you guys, I just wanted to remind you, I wish you nothing but the best. CPI data reports are normally very volatile days. So please watch that position size. And one of the reminders that I want to have for all of you guys is, again, one day does not define you as a trader. There's always going to be more money to be made. The goal should not be to be perfect. You will never be perfect with your entries or your exits, but it's to be effective with your entries and with your exits. So if you begin to see a break of pattern, if you begin to see no more signs of progress, then understand when to lock in profits and to get out for the greater good of your account, right? It's not about, oh, that was perfect. No, it's not about that. It's about, hey, we're no longer seeing higher highs. We're showing signs of resistance. Maybe it's time to reduce my position size or get out. I'm just trying to look out for the beginner trader out there, right? I wish someone was doing this for me when I just got started. So that's my one tip for all of you guys out there. Not that the market needs to sell off. I'm just saying that if it does, it's never about well, what if the market goes up? That's not my concern. Your concern should always be to moderate and manage risk. That is your main focus every single time. Understand why most beginner traders fail, and it's because they're all focused on making money and never focused on keeping it. Your job is not to avoid risk. Your job is to manage it. And the quicker that you realize that, the better off that you will be. If you refuse to accept that, I can guarantee you will not make it in the stock market. I can promise you. Anyone can make money in the market. It's about learning how to keep it. That's the biggest difference. Okay? So appreciate your time. Again, we have about 3,600 of you. I don't know how many of you guys are part of our LPP team, but I do want to remind you that, again, we are running our biggest sale right now. It's the second link in the description down below. It's a one-time payment. It's lifetime access. And yes, you do get to watch me trade live every single day. If you sign up right now, you get the biggest discount, and you can watch me trade live by market open, which is in about it's in about 19 minutes. So market opens in 19 minutes. Once you get all set up and purchase the course, right, it's going to take you, this is the course curriculum. Watch the first 3 videos in the welcome section. This will explain to you exactly how to watch me trade live. So it gives you access to our Discord chat. It gives you access to the live trading sessions and where it's provided for you in the Discord chat. But it's all provided for you in the course. So once you sign up, get into the course, watch the first 3 videos in the welcome section, and you will understand how to watch me trade live. I do want to let you know that for everyone that signs up for Learn Plan Profit 2.0 today, not only do you get the biggest discount, but you also get 5,000 automatic entries for a chance to win the 2019 Nissan GTR or $50,000 cash. It's just a cherry on top, right? Some of you guys that enrolled in LPP didn't even know that you were entered 5,000 times, but it's pretty much a $1,000 value for entries, right? 5,000 entries to 2019 Nissan GTR or $50,000 cash. And again, just by signing up, you get automatically entered. You don't have to do anything just by signing up. It will, get you automatically entered by our third-party sweepstakes company for the giveaway. So the only other thing is, again, Shop Tech Buds for those that want to pick up some apparel or want more entries. This is at shoptechbuds.com or the 4th link in the description down below. For every $1 that you spend, it equals 5 entries. So you can get t-shirts. These get you 150 entries. Crew necks get you 300 entries. More tees, 150, 300, 250, 150, 200 entries. Again, there's mouse pads. There's wall art. A lot of you guys like my wall art that I have here. They're all provided for you here at shoptechbuds.com or the 4th link down below. And that's really just it. So for all of our LPP members, I'm going to close out this live stream and I'm going to start the new one so we can all get ready for the LPP live trading. If you have any questions beyond that, send me a direct message via Discord, and that's that first link in the description down below. I really do appreciate you guys' time. Congratulations to all the bulls out there. It looks like you guys are holding strong. We're holding above the EMA. We were still holding above the moving average, and we shall see if it continues to make higher highs by the time the market opens. But nonetheless, wish you guys nothing but the best. Hope that it earned your thumbs up. Please consider subscribing. And like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy, team.